Listen to me very carefully. Do not scroll past this moment, because what I am about to share with you is not ordinary astrology. This is not another new moon you can ignore. What is coming on September 21st, 2025 at 3:54 p.m. Eastern Time is the last eclipse of the year, a Virgo solar eclipse at the 29th degree. And this degree is no accident. It is not random. It is a spiritual checkpoint, a karmic graduation, a cosmic reset written into your soul's journey. 29 degrees is the final degree. It is the point of mastery, the closing chapter before a brand new book begins. And here, in Virgo, it is the end of one cycle of self, your body, your mind, your daily life, your habits, your sense of responsibility, and the beginning of a new chapter in how you carry yourself into the world. This is not just about you anymore. This eclipse is preparing you to step across the threshold, from the inner self-development of Virgo into the relational, collective energy of Libra. But first, the universe is asking you, what have you learned? What have you healed? What is complete? This eclipse carries the weight of Saturn's opposition from Pisces at 28 degrees, and Saturn never comes empty-handed. Saturn shows up as the teacher, the examiner, the karmic authority. And during this eclipse, Saturn is retrograde, asking you to review what has been unfolding since May 2025, when Saturn last stood at this degree. Think about the lessons, the delays, the heaviness you have carried since then. The resistance you faced was not punishment, it was preparation. Saturn slows us down so that we can see what we've been avoiding. And in Pisces, this is about karmic release, soul contracts, spiritual endings that cannot be ignored any longer. For some, this will feel like hitting a wall, a crisis point where you can no longer run, no longer delay, no longer escape. For others, this will feel like a sacred opening, a moment of clarity where you suddenly understand why things had to happen the way they did. Both are true, depending on how you've met your lessons. This eclipse is the acupuncture needle of the cosmos, pressing exactly on the pain point where energy has built up for too long, forcing it to release, forcing it to flow. Virgo rules the body, the mind, and the way we process the world. This eclipse may show up in very physical ways: fatigue, anxiety, restlessness, digestive issues, or health challenges that reveal where your lifestyle, your stress, or your habits are no longer sustainable. The body is screaming what the soul has already known. Some of you may suddenly feel the urge to change your routines, cut out toxic foods or environments, or finally deal with long-ignored health issues. Others may feel the heavy toll of mental and emotional buildup, realizing that your nervous system cannot carry the same weight anymore. This is where Virgo's medicine comes in: awareness, responsibility, practical change. This eclipse does not allow escapism. It demands clarity. It demands that you look at the smallest details of your life, the patterns you repeat daily, and ask, do these patterns still serve me? Or are they chains keeping me bound to the past? At 29 degrees, Virgo is not gentle. It is decisive. It is the closing slash of the editor's pen that removes what no longer belongs. But there is another layer here. The 29 degrees Virgo eclipse is not isolated. It is a bridge. Within 24 hours, the sun moves into Libra and we step into the equinox, a turning of the seasons, a shift of light and balance. This means that the eclipse energy is not only about endings but also about preparing for a new way of living and relating. What you clear now will shape the relationships, contracts, and partnerships that enter your life in Libra season. If you cling to old habits, old karma, old stories, you risk carrying them forward into the next cycle. But if you release with courage, you open the door to balance, harmony, and alignment that is waiting for you just beyond this threshold. So, ask yourself honestly, what am I truly ready to let go of? What cycle of worry, guilt, overwork, or self-sacrifice am I done repeating? What needs to be healed, forgiven, or finalized? Because the universe is clear, you cannot take it with you. Not anymore. This eclipse is the final purge before the new era begins. Let's begin with Mercury, Virgo's ruler, currently moving through Libra. Mercury in Libra speaks of conversations, negotiations, the willingness to see multiple sides of the same truth. This is not a time for rigid thinking. It is a time for dialogue, for opening your mind to perspectives beyond your own. Yet Mercury does not float alone. It forms powerful aspects right before the eclipse, including in opposition to Neptune at 0 degrees Aries. And what does Neptune at this critical degree symbolize? The dissolution of the false self. The masks you wear to keep peace, the identities you've clung to for validation, the illusions you've built to avoid rejection, all of them are being exposed. Under this eclipse, Mercury asks, are you speaking from your authentic truth, or are you still bending your words to fit someone else's approval? This is where the reset sharpens. Because the Virgo solar eclipse is not only about what you do daily, but about whether those actions match who you really are. If you've been betraying your true self to keep harmony in relationships, this eclipse will make it painfully clear. The cost of dishonesty, whether to yourself or others, will feel heavier than ever. And you may be forced to finally choose between staying in the comfort of pretense or stepping fully into the raw light of authenticity. Then we have Chiron in Aries retrograde at 26 degrees, still echoing from its opposition to Mars in Libra. This alignment digs deep into old wounds of self-worth and self-confidence. It whispers the question, who am I now? Not who you were years ago, not who others expect you to be, but who you are in this moment after everything you have endured. Many will feel triggers rising during this eclipse, situations or relationships that poke at insecurities you thought were healed. But remember, Chiron's medicine is never about punishment. It is about revealing where the wound is ready to close, where the scar can become a source of wisdom instead of pain. If you allow yourself to face what hurts, this eclipse can transform your wounds into power. And do not overlook Venus in Virgo, freshly squared by Uranus in Gemini. Uranus brings chaos, disruption, sudden shifts. Venus in Virgo craves order, stability, and clarity. When these two collide, the message is clear. The old plan no longer works. Whatever careful blueprint you built, whether in love, finances, or your vision of beauty, has been shaken. You may feel irritated, overwhelmed, even lost. But trust this, Uranus only destroys what is too rigid to evolve. What falls apart now is not punishment, but liberation. The eclipse will guide you to rebuild differently, in ways that align with the new self you are becoming. The timing of this eclipse is also divine. Within hours, the moon slips into Libra, and within a day, the sun crosses into Libra, marking the equinox, the balance of light and shadow. This cosmic choreography is no coincidence. The Virgo solar eclipse clears what is decayed, toxic, and unsustainable, so that Libra can usher in harmony, fairness, and alignment in your relationships. This is not just a seasonal shift, it is a soul shift. The universe is recalibrating your scales, weighing what you've carried, and showing you where imbalance can no longer remain hidden. But balance requires choice. And Saturn, still sitting in Pisces, reminds you that these choices carry weight. There will be karmic consequences. The eclipse is not just a reset for your comfort, it is a reckoning for your soul. Those who delay, who cling to escapism, who refuse to take responsibility, will feel Saturn's heaviness dragging forward into the next cycle. But those who embrace the reset, who take ownership of their healing and release what is done, will step into Libra's season lighter, freer, and ready for the relationships and opportunities that await. This brings us to perhaps the most profound theme of this eclipse, relationships. As the sun and moon move into Libra, they form a grand trine in air signs with Uranus in Gemini and Pluto in Aquarius. This is a once-in-a-lifetime activation, opening doors to radical transformation in how we connect, communicate, and collaborate. Partnerships of all kinds, romantic, professional, spiritual, are being restructured on higher ground. Some connections will dissolve because they cannot match your frequency. Others will deepen or begin anew, carrying the fresh energy of alignment. Ask yourself, who am I when I stand in my truth? And who is willing to meet me there? This eclipse will not allow relationships built on falsehoods to survive, but it will bless those rooted in honesty, balance, and shared evolution. The Libra scales are not only about fairness, they are about integrity. They weigh the truth of your soul against the masks of your ego. And the outcome will be undeniable. Remember, eclipses are not fleeting events. Their energy unfolds over 6 months, echoing until March 2026. What you release, decide, and embrace during this Virgo solar eclipse will ripple forward into your next chapter. The acupuncture needle pressed at 29 degrees of Virgo will keep moving energy through your life, ensuring that stagnation does not return. It is a reset that carries momentum, pushing you forward even when you hesitate. So do not resist. Do not cling to the old patterns, the expired habits, the karmic loops. This is your graduation moment. The universe is asking you to step out of survival and into mastery, to claim your spiritual responsibility, to embody your authentic self, not the version that pleases others, but the one your soul has been patiently waiting to reveal. And so, as this eclipse unfolds, stay awake. Stay aware. Stay willing to release what no longer serves you. Because this is not just another eclipse. It is the last eclipse of 2025, the closing chapter of an old identity, and the opening line of the story you were always meant to live. If this message resonates with you, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment 999 below to anchor this reset into your life. And most importantly, share this message with your friends, because they too are walking through this powerful threshold, and together, we rise.